Hi people. I became really inspired to make another video about the retreat because I realized that in the last video I was being quite vague about what we're actually up to, and I got blessed by the universe to take a bath the other day, and while I was in the bath I was like, oh, I should be more clear about what we're actually going to be doing. So hi Christopher, the inspiration that came with doing this retreat this year came after the Lionsgate portal, where I really experienced such a strong energy of transformation, and I was able to anchor this energy and use it in a really productive way to anchor myself in a higher vibration. And this made me realize just how powerful gateways and special times of the year can be. And I became inspired to do this retreat because I realized that this work could really be helpful to a lot of people. And so what I realized was that the important thing to mention is that this is not going to be a retreat where I tell you a bunch of stuff about light work. I'm not going to teach you a bunch of information for your brain. It's really embodying this understanding that our growth and embodying higher vibrations of being really comes from this alchemical process of self-healing. And when I first woke up in 2013 and started communicating with my Andromedan star family, I asked them what my role was on the planet, what my job was, and they said that I am a self-healing guide / galactivation guide. And it took 7 years for me to fully learn and understand what we're actually self-healing from, and this is really quite a deep conversation. So being on the planet right now, we are collectively healing from basically planetary rape or sexual enslavement. And this is coming from a really expanded understanding of sexuality, that all sexual energy is creative energy. It is the energy of creation. And just our common understanding of this word sex and how it's so distorted to immediately represent some lower energies or just purely energies of sexual relation between people is already a signpost that we have, as a humanity, steered really far away from our sacred understanding of life. And so these teachings and transmissions come from a really deep place, as my ancestors, the female ancestors in my family line, come from a ancient tradition of Taoist Tantra mastresses, or masters, that's feminine, I don't know what the word is. And basically the understanding is that human beings are creator beings. To be a divine sovereign creator means that we are in full understanding and recognition and awareness of our energy in a multidimensional way. And as we begin to meditate and do these practices that the ancients have left us, like yoga and breath work and etc., what we're doing is we're clearing out the distortions and the trauma that have been inside of our bodies for a really, really long time, for as long as humanity have been separated from our divine self. And so this is a huge part of actually raising our vibration, because we can get downloads out the wazoo and we can talk about, light and ley lines and all sorts of awesome stuff, but we won't be able to fully embody and experience that personally until we really go deep, deep, deep inside ourselves to clean and heal ourselves on a multidimensional vantage point. So that's not just our body, but our soul. A lot of people, especially in the awakening and the disclosure community, we have ancestry in from galactic lineages which are severely traumatized in galactic wars, in the original separation from Lyra. And all of those things are just kind of vague when we're first waking up. But as we really start to go within and use these epic tools that we have and start to heal ourselves, we're actually healing lineages of the universe, and we're healing the universe in relation to that, right? Directly. We begin to realize really deeply that our own inner fabric of reality is equivalent to the external fabric of reality, and that in the ancient Taoist understandings of as above, so below, it is a literal, visceral, palpable experience of being a microcosmic aspect of the universe. And so if we want to save the world, if we want to change and heal certain things that we see that are uneasy to look at in the world, we really have to go inside to heal those things. So this retreat is really designed to take you through these really important healings. If there's something that you are dealing with at the moment that you've been trying to heal, that you've been trying to move through for a really long time, and it's just been really hard for you, this could be the catalyst that brings you to the next level of healing. You know, I understand that if we don't set a precise moment in time to do healings, these things can drag on and on. So, of course, in the retreat, we're going to be doing 2 hours of self-work practice, you know, meditation and yoga and breath work, just our most efficient tools that we have, and really designating that time and creating the space in that intention of everyone doing that, which really accelerates the process for everyone. I have gone through this sort of retreat myself, and it's always been really, really powerful, really anchoring levels of our own soul that we might have a hard time doing on our own. So really intending to hold this space to be able to move people through levels of healing that we haven't experienced before, that is hard to access on our own. I have done a lot of shamanic training in the last 7 years to prepare me to hold this kind of space. It means that at this point I am experienced in clearing things like astral military attacks and possessions and ancient ancestral curses and things like this. So if you're feeling like there's a blockage in your life that's just really hard for you to access, I really recommend that you really think about coming and gifting yourself this experience to really move into the next level of your life. And that is really something that we're holding the intention to provide that space and to hold that space for those who are called to come and do this work at this time. So yeah, if you're on the fence about coming to this retreat, it's actually kind of misleading to call it a retreat, because it's actually quite an intense experience. It is an intense learning and self-healing experience where we're intending to do the work to get us to the next level. You know, I'm not going to be telling you about what 7D consciousness feels like so you can think about it with your brain. We have to do the house cleaning, and of course the transmission and the energy and the consciousness is here, you know, is holding space for you to get there. But we are really focusing on the healing aspects. There's going to be, I think, 3 sound healing ceremonies. These sound healing ceremonies have been really potent. Having a really dear connection with plant spirits. These sounds, vibrations are strong enough to carry and spark the magic of the plants, and to really move you through that healing that might just be dangling right there. Hi, Mark. So yeah, I'm really excited. Hi, Tanya. So I hope that's specific. You know, advanced light work to me, when it came through, I thought about this term light worker, and I thought about the work that I have been doing in the world for the last, 7 years, and I just felt like there needed to be more explanation to what we were doing, because on the one hand, yes, we are just holding a space of love and light. We are going out there and hugging people and, holding space, and that's great. But there's a level of mastery that's coming online now for all of the beings who are feeling like we're empaths or psychics. There's a level of mastery where we are really embodying the power that comes from wielding that sort of ability, to be able to navigate, some dank spaces, some tricky spaces with our love. And by that I mean we are intricately connected in through consciousness, through the inner world with everything and everyone on this planet. So a lot of my work revolves around that. I do a lot of ceremony on my own where I'm just going inside and going into the places of collective consciousness that are nasty, that need that restoration and that cleaning. And I think that my calling right now is really to activate and bring as many people into that place of confidence and psychic navigation as possible. And so again, of course, that journey begins inside. Hi, Char Char. And yeah, so this retreat is going to be a really epic exploration into all of that. Is the League of Light real? I have no idea what you mean. I exist and I have a team and I have lots of friends that are living the teachings and walking the talking. So if that's what you mean, then yes. So if you're unable to make the retreat in person, I am going to be doing a live streaming thing. I do feel that this portal, it's going to be really powerful. And I'm just feeling really called to share this energy of healing, deep, deep healing, and deep, deep new embodiment with as many people as possible. Barbara! Yeah. Oh, I'm feeling you. So yeah, reach out if you're feeling like coming. I'm probably gonna just delete the whole price raise after the early bird thing. I only put that up because it's really easier for me to organize things if people signed up earlier. But I think at this point the organization has been taken care of, so we also got a really awesome discount from the venue, so it's all just lining up beautifully. So yeah, this is an invitation to really step into a week of really deep, deep inner work, to be supported in this energy of living light, living love, while you go deep inside, and to allow that process to allow more light and higher aspects of self to come in. And that is the only way to acquire stability as we jump into a higher frequency and state of being. I love you all so much. It's a Pleiadian federation. I work with the Pleiadians quite a lot. I have activated a bunch of their ancient technologies around the planet that are encoded in the stones. So that is an energy that I have worked with. Christopher. Yeah, Christopher, if you're feeling like coming, reach out to me. I can probably make something happen. I think Kayvon and Michelle are actually just going to come and hang out too, so it would be fun to see you. I'm probably going to make a separate video about this, but I think I'm just going to practice and talk about this now. It is the topic of shamanism. I call this work shamanic healing, and I call it galactic shamanism, and this is just a term that I've been guided to use for a long time. And sometimes I get heat from, elders and different Native American and other people who kind of have this judgment surrounding the word, and I totally understand that a lot of things have been misused, certain plants. There's a lot of distortion and pain and trauma and all of that. But I just want to share my understanding of this word. So when I first started waking up, this voice in my head would always just tell me, this is part of your shamanic training. This is part of your shamanic training. As I'm moving through the world and, clearing energies and doing various things with portals and etc. And one year I was in Taos at this Hanuman temple, and this older man came up to me and he just said, "Do you know what the word shaman means?" And I'd never met this man before. He's never seen me. I've never talked to him. But so I was very intrigued that this random person would just come up and say this to me. And so I said, no, please tell me what it means. And he said that it means exhausted monk. And at the time, I thought it was really funny, and I really resonated with it because it's the path of selfless service. Right now, we're really upgrading our level of consciousness here in recognizing that we're not saviors, we're not martyrs, and so we're not really exhausted, but we are of service all the time through our pure intention. So I totally understood where he was coming from, and I enjoyed what he shared with me. And then several years ago, this work in the shamanic healing world is really amplified for me. And what I boiled it down to is pretty much accessing multiple dimensions and beings and consciousness from higher dimensions, and using and allowing that consciousness through our vessel to incur healing and growth. And there's another dimension, so that's just like the concept, right? But then there's another dimension where there's an energy that comes through the heart, is an energy that is really connected to the living mysticism of aliveness. That makes sense. It's understanding and having this deep connection, this deep love connection with the planet, with the earth, with the plants, with the animals. So the word shamanism itself is then a multidimensional experience, is when we begin to access consciousness outside of the linear perspective and into understanding that there is a force of majesty and magic that flows through all things. And as that magic and that living light takes our heart into the state of awe of its own existence, I would say that this is an energy. This is a shamanic energy. This is the energy which motivates us to heal ourselves, that motivates us to evolve ourselves so that we can be stewards and guardians and leaders and teachers and whatever you want to be, a person that holds space, right? And so I feel like at the end of the day that this is something that I'm really passionate about talking about, because I think that a lot of people, they start to access their spirits and they start accessing higher dimensionality, and they just want to like call themselves whatever name. And this is an issue. I just heard a story recently where there's been healers who use plant medicine and then womanize or actually hurt people, either in the astral plane or in the physical plane. And this is really hurtful to me because this ancient practice of basically connecting with the force of life and wielding that energy for the forces of love, to degrade that energy is a direct attack on life, and that is something that is really absurd and painful. So yes, I feel that this discernment surrounding the word shamanism is coming from a really good place. And also I just feel that if we abandon this word altogether, Apollo, that if we just abandon this word altogether, that we might miss out on something. We might miss out on this beauty that is also present in this word. And this word comes from the ancient Siberia area, the Mongolian area. So that's actually where I'm from. So I find it kind of distasteful when, other cultural people are like, oh, you shouldn't use that word. I'm like, well, like, that's kind of weird because that's literally where I'm from. So I think I get to use the word when I want to. But anyway, aside from all of that, I just feel this deep desire to correct and to share the correct teachings surrounding this, because again, it is our deep, deep connection to life, to the magic that is flowing through everything. And if we can connect our heart to that force, then we can't possibly deviate, right? And so when I say shamanic healing, it is healing that comes from that place, is being in that place and sharing that deep love and connection with person, because that is a healing force in and of itself, right? Because all distortions and pain, suffering, and disease come from our separation from that source. So thank you for listening. I'm so happy to be walking this path. I had some blessings come into my life just over the last couple days, and it has just filled my heart with a deep sense of awe, to understand that we are so supported and loved in this path, and that as long as we stay true to our heart, that we are walking in this way of being connected to our intention of being of service for the good reasons of preserving all that is beautiful, all that is magnificent and perfect, that we can't be steered away from that. So this is the energy that will be present at the retreat. It's going to be at a wolf sanctuary. So I hope to see some people there, and it's going to be really beautiful. And thank you so much for tuning in. Bye for now.